All right, so we're going to catch up a little bit. And ladies and gents, welcome. This is not the third time I've tried to do this intro. But this is No Wall mod between TheViper and Yo. We have a 7-game set, which means for people on YouTube, you will get to see every single game without being spoiled of the results. All games are going to be played. And this matchup is the very matchup that we had back in October of 2016. It was the first day that my stream crossed 1,000 viewers. Here we have, I can't see quite how many, but we have a lot more at the start for game 1. So good memories for me, and good memories for Nilly too, because Nilly was here casting with me on that day.
Indeed I was, and it kind of felt one of the first casts where we had the real great synergy, and it was like the beautiful handing it over every single time.
Yep.
And we're really, really on fire. Let's see if the games are as interesting again today.
Yeah, so game 1, Hun's Arabia No Wall mod. These games do not go on for very long. They normally, with the meta, you go scouts, into walls, into ranges. But if you don't have walls, this could lead to a lot of scouts, a lot of archers. I'd be surprised if we see man-at-arms at all in this, Nilly, but maybe even towers if they need some way to defend themselves.
I think man-at-arms could actually be an option, since they're like really, really good at the 11-minute mark.
True.
And what's the typical counter to man-at-arms? It is quick walls, but if quick walls are not an option, man-at-arms potentially on the menu.
It's a very good point. And now with other civilizations, you can use houses as walls, and players will do that. But here, you can't do that with Huns. So Hun's one of the most fluid civilizations in the mid-game and standard games. But here, it's going to be even more so. Players will find creative ways to wall otherwise, though. I've seen outpost walling and even mill walling before. That was funny.
Yeah, and I know what we'll always go crazy over if we see some dock walling. Maybe an option in map number 2, where the community votes for the map.
Yeah, it's true. Game 2, you guys can vote for the map. And also, the way it's structured is, you will vote for 2 civilizations, and then the losing player will get to pick which civ he plays as and which civ the enemy plays as. So you could go, I don't know, Koreans, Aztecs, if you really wanted to warp it. Hopefully it's not the case. Koreans, but we'll see. I might have just made that happen.
Celts Mayans on Forest Nothing.
Viper gets Mayans. I'm sure he'd love that. Right. Well, what do you think of the maps, Nilly? I mean, they're so close to each other, and the main golds are forward.
Yeah, we have to talk about that indeed. It's so open, no woodlines there, not a lot of hills in between them. And yeah, like the settings already kind of imply that every game will be super aggressive, but this one should just be super aggressive.
Yeah, it should be even more so. I see 3 on wood for Viper currently, both players pushing in their deer so they can get to feudal age ASAP. I do like how, like, yes, the golds are forward, but everything's pretty compact for Mr. Yo right now. The wood lines are all really close to him. The berries really close. Scout Rush can't really damage his berries because he's close to the town center. So if I had to choose a map, I would choose his over Viper's, but slight differences. Viper will see the main gold. So, okay, he I think he expects Yo's TC to be there. And he knows where the golden stone is.
Yeah, this is a dream Mr. Yo map if it was with walls. Like,
yeah.
Mr. Yo and MBL, kind of the 2 guys that love those small walls, creating a small base, defending everything, and then having this very good eco. But this is not going to happen here. Let's see how far you're pushing him out of his comfort zone.
Yeah.
Settings.
So, likely going to be the exact same build for both players. I'd be very surprised. Viper's actually going 21 pop after pushing all of his deer. So, up later, but economy will be more flexible and healthier. And so, 2 lumber camps. Wait a second. Is Viper going to build a lumber camp on that wood? Oh, he doesn't realize... I hate to say it this way, but Viper doesn't realize his wood is so tiny. He doesn't realize that wood line's so... Oh, man, I don't know if that's the best. But we'll have to ask Debbie about that at another time. Come on, change the subject real quick, Nilly. Come on. All right, the awkward silence is just killing me right now. You know, Dave learned that from you, by the way. Or I don't know if he learned it from you, but the last time he pulled the awkward silence trick, he's like, oh, Nilly does that to me all the time. It's so fun when you're on the other side. Oh, no, Yo, what are you, low elo legends? That's not so good, but not the end of the world.
Yeah, and, well, that wood line, let's see if it will even matter if he's chopped through that one, because it will most likely be the first angle of attack.
Yeah.
You said pop 20 here for Mr. Yo, pop 21 for the Viper. It should still be scouts for both players.
Yeah, think so. Scouts into more scouts. And then if there's enough defensive spearmen out, they'll probably switch into archers. And in a normal game, you do a little bit of damage, you wall up, you invest into eco, you go Castle Age here. We might not even see Castle Age. Oh, Viper could be in... Oh, okay, his barracks actually will go up. And I think normally Viper would be tempted to quick wall there, but you can't do that.
Yeah, well, won't happen here. And normally you think, okay, pop 20 against pop 21, not the biggest difference, only a difference of 25 seconds. But this time it was 50 seconds because Mr. Yo actually even skipped Loom till Feudal Age.
Ah, that's why he used 4 villagers to build the stable. Good catch, Nilly. And Yo will be here with 2 scouts, his starting scout and the follow-up, and 2 spearmen. So I think the faster feudal time paying off for Yo so far.
And can afford the wood upgrade behind this, so his economy didn't suffer. Now drops some of those beautiful farms. Very solid opening here for our Chinese player.
Yeah. I think if you were to guess which games Yo would win, this would probably be at the bottom of your list, because Viper is the faster player. So interesting to see how Yo has opened this. And Viper is defensive. He does not know where the scouts are from Yo yet. Yo is actually looping around to the right side, and Viper going over there now, but we'll see if Yo comes into the woodline, and he does. Beautiful play from Mr. Yo.
Has to be a dead villager there, no way to save it unless he goes crazy with some outpost. Can't do it. -1.
-1. Yeah, all right. So the faster feudal working out. See how many spearmen we're seeing right now. Viper with 4 spearmen just in defense. Yo will have to add his own, and Viper has to deal or track Mr. Yo's scouts.
Now Mr. Yo even feels okay. Let's transition into archer ranges because he's already sending some villagers onto gold.
Okay.
And Viper, if he stays mass spearman, could be tricky for him.
Yeah, so what is always interesting in a Hun War is, yes, the archer transition into the spearman's good, but if you then have less scouts, Viper's healthy scout numbers could trade against those archers, right? So it's always tough to know. Yo actually, with 4 spears remaining, he really did a good job there. 5-2 KD for him.
Yeah, like how healthy do you have to be to fight off 4 spearmen there? That's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned earlier, Mr. Yo's map's so compact. If you raid, he instantly gets into the TC again.
Yeah, there's a few opportunities for Viper on the wood lines, I'd say. And maybe Yo now transitions into leaving the spearmen at home. 2 spearmen grouped up, and Viper, if he wants to kill a villager, would probably lose 2 or 3 scouts there. So I like Mr. Yo's start, but it can always turn with 1 engagement with no wall mod.
Yeah. Something I have to say, I think I would have loved to see Mr. Yo adding the archer range a bit earlier. You see Viper, he drops the archer range first, then goes on to gold, therefore already starting the production. And Mr. Yo floating some gold here with 100 more than he needs it.
Viper's done an awful job tracking scouts from Yo. Again, Viper's in trouble, he's going to lose a villager, and Yo has spearmen posted up all over his base. But yes, the base is more compact, but Viper guessed the wrong side and had the spearmen to the north. I guess that is the more exposed wood line, but Yo killed 2 villagers there nearly. So Yo defending well, attacking well, and here are the ranges now.
Yeah, and that all came down to the Greygasm Dark Age from Mr. Yo, right? He
yeah.
had the aggression, he had more spearmen, more scouts, and the only way to come back is to sit back and have the better economy. But sitting back without walls, not an option.
Yeah, I think what is going to be good for Viper is the faster range. If he can just get, yeah, look, 7 scouts, almost all on full HP, with 3 archers, it would clear out the spears that Yo has before Yo is able to have anything more. And while Yo goes into the woodline, I still feel like Viper's army could devastate Mr. Yo in a few minutes, or a few moments.
Tristan, do you think he needs to wait for bloodlines? I think that could be the upgrade to even increase his army strength.
Yeah.
More.
Well, the longer he waits, like, Yo should recognize how vulnerable he is. So, the longer he waits, the more time Yo's going to have. And Yo is actually placing a tower on the gold, which I think is a good decision. A bit hard
back in the wood line.
Hop into the tower, but again, Yo finding the wood line where Viper does not have spearmen. And another villager down. He's making it look so easy. It's like Viper without quick walls is struggling right now.
+3 there. Army, well, both players completely producing still. Loses 2 spearmen. Maybe won't even lose a single villager. That's the loss Mr. Yo will take.
All right, yeah, so Yo did snipe another villager as he ran away from his wood line. No villagers on stone for additional towers. It's all going to be about archer numbers, and I think he might even need to pull his scouts back as a bit of a buffer. No bloodlines for Viper either, right? So, has not really had the gold income. He's going to add a second range now. It is 19 military for Viper, 16 for Yo. I'd say the military's better for Viper because spears are still super vulnerable, but Yo's should be ahead in eco.
We have wheelbarrow for Mr. Yo here as well. Send some army to the center. Is a bit caught off guard. Still tries to micro the 3 archers. Seems like Viper is getting away. It just feels like Viper's trying to break Mr. Yo in feudal age.
Yeah, I think it's probably the play, maybe even for both of them. If Yo tries to save 800 food to go feudal, Viper could put 800 food into feudal and just slaughter him. Now guys, I am not casting with the Hidden Cup 3 casting mod because the most recent patch gave that issue. So I understand that I need to click less. I like to check unit HP. So if you're curious on vill counts, military counts, and everything, it is down here now. We're going to work with what we've got here today. Yo's archer numbers are pretty high now. He's at 11, and Viper has 6 forwards, so I think Yo can hold against this for now.
Do you have a game time, by the way? Or is that hidden behind the scoreboard?
I do have it at the bottom, yeah. So it's at the bottom next to the minimap. It's at 19:30 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hiding from you. And Viper will lose his army. However, I think the trade was decent. He killed quite a few archers. And he's on the wood line of Yo. Again, Yo attentive and runs away.
How do you try to wall this? I think Mr. Yo doubling down there with building all the production in front of his gold and the tower might have been a bit too defensive. What do you think?
Maybe he's waiting for his eco to kick in a little bit, you know? Viper is definitely in a position where he needs to be offensive and aggressive, so maybe he was just falling back. 18 on food for Yo, Viper with 16 on food. There's a slight difference. I don't know. Hard to say, man. But you can't build a gate there, right? So a little gap in between, and that's quite good, I'd say.
And Yo's eco, he simply has 2.5 more villagers and wheelbarrow ahead, but is getting all the resources on the map. He will stay in feudal age for quite some time. Same goes for the Viper, although the Viper now kind of took the foot off the gas when it comes to scout production.
Yeah, he did, and he has skirmishers, and Viper hits the woodline, and again, Yo doesn't lose villagers, but I think it could be a mistake to mix in this many skirmishers, because they will get slaughtered against scouts. But Yo still has some weak scouts, too, so it's very, very tough to judge.
Yo a bit scared now. He had the lead, but he's camping so much now, even forced to go into stone.
Yeah.
Needs to build a second tower, at least that's what he feels.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to be as defensive as possible with these settings. The Viper goes in, sees that Yo has his army there, almost identical army compositions, though Yo is closer to his base. It's making it tough for Viper to decide on where he'll attack, but he is going to distract Yo fully on the left-hand side and send a force over to the right at the same moment.
Second stable by the Viper now as well, so, well, not really taking the foot off too far there. Where should Mr. Yo build the second tower? He decides right-hand side, but the raid is coming in.
Yeah, this is beautiful from Viper because he knows that Yo needs to make a decision with his army. So Viper, as he snipes 2 villagers and delays the tower, he's thinking, can I push the left side after Yo reacts to the right? That's just good Age of Empires there, good army control. But with a few more towers, then suddenly it's unlikely that Viper's going to be able to push in with archers. Loving the army numbers for Viper, though. 32 versus 27 still. And making Yo... well, actually, Yo might counter here, nearly. I thought Yo was going to commit fully in defense again.
Yeah, and archers aren't that great in scouts aren't that great in defending, so I love the move there. Has some scouts spare, and Viper can't punish at the front. That could be pretty deadly. What's the defense here for the Viper? Yeah,
I mean, Viper probably hoping that the amount of threat he's posing for Mr. Yo, or at Mr. Yo's base, is going to keep Mr. Yo at home. He has a few spearmen nearly, which is not going to be enough. As he's sending a large AI-looking force forward, Yo is going to arrive. He could clear out the entire woodline if Viper doesn't react to this. Viper's fighting elsewhere.
No. Those are with forging as well, so villagers should have some problems, but he reacted instantly. Feels like 2-3 dead villagers. Make it 3.
Yeah, 3 villagers while also fighting and losing, I believe, though he's going to be on the wood line from Yo at the same time. And Yo needs to leave this wood line as he's clearing up the army from Viper in the back.
But that's fine for him. How many villages is he losing? He is losing 3 as well. So eye for an eye, what it feels like for now.
Yeah, and now Viper's on the golds. And Yo, I think you reacted because he ran underneath Viper's town center. But he has many weak scouts now, which Viper can hold from. So this might end up being better for the Viper. What a ridiculous game. This is why I love No Wall mod. We're looking at so many different areas at once.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, it is very, very special in so many regards. And you see the people there getting pushed out of their comfort zone, and I love it. Yep,
exactly. But whereas if it was a normal game, the walls would already be up and they'd be in Castle H. Okay. Or if it was a normal game, Viper would have quick-walled like 16,000 times. And would have been tougher for Yo to get villager kills.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like so weird. I still give coaching, and the other day I caught myself saying, in 2020, you should not lose a villager to melee unit in Feudal Age anymore. Yeah. Because walling, people got so good nowadays.
Yep.
And yeah, it just feels like the archer meta is dominating so much.
Yep. Maybe there will be a balance change in the future to shake up the walling a little bit. A Viper with most of his army in the middle, and that's a lot of archers. Yo has 21 there, and Viper has 20. How perfect is this? Whew.
Obviously, all players with all the upgrade scouts scaring away at the top. Not a lot of micro in the center, though.
Not really. And Viper's slightly winning that. I think just because Yo had less HP and... Well, actually, Viper has low HP as well. Yo, the big difference is that Yo still has more villagers, I say as he's about to lose a vill. And he does have defensive towers.
Ooh, but defensive tower, left-hand side, top side, and center. But sneaky tower from the Viper there, and that one should range part of the woodline and part of the gold.
What's sick about that is that's Viper's first tower. That is, like, if he gets that tower up, that is going to make life so difficult for Mr. Yo, but also it's very risky for Viper because he won't have stone at home to tower if there's a counterattack.
But... instant defensive tower, I think that's not really something that you can break. Why is Mr. Yo taking this fight? And it's horrible.
It was really bad. And maybe he didn't... I believe he wanted to buy his villagers time so he can get his own tower up. I don't know. Yo does have 2 towers over the battlefield here. It looks better for Viper. It's still maintaining more military as Yo is maintaining more eco. But he has, he is eco in harm's way right now, and Viper does not.
Yeah, and like, that's actually a defensive tower that Mr. Yo really likes. That's not like, okay, you're forcing me to build a tower, so we're trading it off. No, that's a tower that defends the woodline so nicely for Mr. Yo.
Yeah, and also Viper had to send those villagers forward. It's definitely, like, the game plan from Viper has been... we can't wall, I'm not towering, so I'm going to be so aggressive that Yo has to stay at home. But Yo, again with more scouts, heading to Viper's woodline, and this is what might cost Viper the game. He's not able to be aggressive enough. Yo gets another defensive tower up, and Viper's paying the price at home.
Yeah. And the only way to stop it, as we mentioned several times, suicide aggression or defensive walls. And Mr. Yo, I love this adjustment. Early aggression got so much control, but then saw, okay, that should be the next game plan of the Viper.
Yep.
How do I counter that? Perfect towers.
Now, if there was one player who would consider Castle Age, not at this point, but in the future, it might be Yo. Viper, he's got to continue to pump out units.
Yeah, Mr. Yo also... another cycle of scouts and archers in production, so he will also continue. He obviously knows, okay, now I'm looking pretty safe. Yep. My opponent isn't. Maybe I can finish this in Feudal Age.
Yeah, exactly. He'll fight with that group underneath the TC. Viper will be happy with that, but he doesn't see the other group. And Yo will hit the same wood line again. Many of these villagers are weak from earlier. Yo's not attacking the weak ones, but it doesn't matter because he has forging. So it's probably 2 down. Maybe 3 down? Oh, it was close to it. Viper is really far behind now. Almost 10 villagers.
Oh boy, and still no wheelbarrow with 50 villagers.
Ooh, that's bad. And if Viper loses this fight, he might just lose the game. Viper has more scouts in front, though, which does make a big difference. Yo will probably end up trading evenly here, which is fine when you have the eco lead.
He's back in the woodline at the back, but that's getting cleared up. So the fight for all the archers in the center is the most important thing. More scouts here, more potential for Mr. Yo to micro, and he's microing nicely.
Wow, this is crazy. Yeah, both players using the scouts to run back and forth, soak up some shots. Viper is getting pummeled here, and you know, I said it, and I'll eat my words. Mr. Yo wins game 1. Maybe not the least likely of all the matches for Yo to win. As someone mentioned, he did win Red Bull finals against Viper, and Red Bull was fast-paced game mode, so fair point. What can you talk about Yo's decision-making in this game, Nilly?
Oh, so nice. Like, it all started with, like, he instantly did push the deer in, right? I think he had 2 deer pushed in before he took the first boar.
Yeah.
Could delay the sheep, therefore he had so much more food. The early aggression, all that, and he saw short distance. Let's just spam those spearmen, and he put on so much pressure. And the moment Viper came back, Mr. Yo, picture-perfect defense.
Yeah, and I think after he got ahead, he realized that sending 3 to stone and holding for a little bit would be the play, because Viper was in the position to be offensive. Yo did a much better job at knowing where Viper was going to be with the early scout attack. Whereas Viper was surprised by Yo on the wood line multiple times. Yo always seemed to know where he was vulnerable. And I think that's what it comes down to. It's not knowing where they're going to show up. It's knowing where you're vulnerable because they're going to show up there, if that makes sense. And ends up with the same result. But 124 kills for Yo and 99 units lost. That was all in the feudal age. And you can see the big eco lead there for Yo. Less on gold, but had more food and wood. And of course had villagers on stone, which Viper did not. So now we move on to game number 2. So YouTube, goodbye. We'll see you in game number 2, like in 8 hours or something. I don't know what my upload schedule is.
Make sure to follow, like, and subscribe.
Yeah, make sure to follow, like, and subscribe. That's true.